Hello and welcome to another video. So this is a pretty standard summit deck right now, or at least mostly standard summit deck. Legendary Fighters become pretty staple in these kind of decks. It seems to do a really nice job and works well with the spells and amulets and everything, and even the Princess Evolve, which is good. Grid of Storms, a card that I haven't got to use at all really in this deck yet, but I can definitely see where he fits in as a good amulet destruction card to really gain you a nice bit of damage, or just use him to really pop any of these amulets earlier, which is always a nice thing. Otherwise, it's a pretty generic summit deck, so Heavenly Knight, Beacon of Salvation, everything like that does a wonderful job. We're actually going to be covering a few Haven decks in the next couple of days, as I've got a few that I really want to cover and that I really think are quite fun and pretty decent decks that aren't all Tenko. They're actually a nice kind of mix of decks, which is quite good, so hopefully you guys will enjoy it and we'll get right into it. So the first matchup we have is against Dragon. Dragon always seems to position itself as a very strong deck, but we start off with a fairly okay hand. I don't mind keeping a Snow White. I'm not such a big fan of keeping the Garuda too early, or the Seraphic Blade against Dragon, even though it can be quite good at dealing with some of the early drops, but definitely not something I want to hold yet. So our trade-off was fairly decent. Of course, we are going second, which isn't always the best thing to do when you're playing a bit more of an aggressive deck, especially when it's a summit deck. So I'll go for the Moria Crim because I really wanted to draw, plus setting up potential destruction is always nice. Our opponent having no turn 3 play was an interesting one, and let me drop my Snow White practically for free here, alongside Summit Temple. I could have held it and done the Legendary Fighter combo, but I didn't feel like I wanted to warrant that yet, as it would definitely force them to make a play. Plus, I can go for the double Legendary Fighter here, which with a little Evo on this Snow White will actually give them some decent effects. So I believe Evo is double attack, I think Evo is. Yeah, can attack 2 times per turn. So if they decided to leave both of these up, it would be a massive amount of damage. Even if they still leave one up, they're looking at 8 damage to the face, which is really, really rough to take in the early game. Especially when we have big finishes like Heavenly Knight set up. So I do decide to just throw down the extra summit. It gets me the draw, plus I set up the potential to go for a long term. Of course, they're going to definitely destroy this Legendary Fighter, so we're going to get the 8 damage while we can. But if they don't, we will get the extra buffs and we will have a massive card. So Warbreaker Dragon, not surprising. Definitely a card you want to be playing there, but does lead in a pretty quick defeat there. So if there's one thing this Haven deck seems to do really well, it's be aggressive, and that's honestly exactly what you want. And going up against Portal, that does a really good job right now. So while you're still probably closing out around turn 7 or 8 in most cases, you can still get games like that Dragon one where things go just the way you want, and you can really end games very, very quickly. I always like to play Summit Temple first in this deck, as it doesn't really matter. You're not really restricted playing Summit Temple like you are with some of the other decks that tech in Summit, as sometimes you just don't want to play it. But in this case, you definitely do, because every card in this deck can pretty much take advantage of Summit Temple's effects. So we get a nice draw, and I set up a nice Mori again. I didn't go for the Jeweled Priestess. I thought I'd hold on to that one. Keep it for a rainy day. There is the Sylvia. Sylvia's really a pain at the moment, I guess. I still don't think it's overpowered, personally. On its own, I think it's just fine. Maybe the stacking effect's a little killer, but honestly, most of the time, stacking effect isn't really a big factor. I think there's just better cards that Portal will probably have changed. But we're starting off pretty decently. Plus, Haven tends to have a good matchup against Portal to begin with, so it's definitely not a big loss for us. So I do decide to go for the White Diamond. We really need to get some draws going after this, but we are going to have a really good 7 damage to the face with this turtle, which is always good. Or tortoise, carapace, whatever they are, those things. And our 1-2 is actually still a fairly decent body. So it looks like they are going for the Evo on the Pure Hearted Singer. Probably to, yeah, just hit face. So now we really want to be able to take out some of this and survive. That's going to be pretty much our goal at this point. I did accidentally kind of block up our board instead of going for the Hind, which is what I probably should have done. Hind would have been a much better card to play out there instead of wasting another Evo. But knowing what Puppet has and what they can do, the odds of them killing me this turn were not super high, I guess. Well, they could have finished me, yeah. So they actually missed lethal there, surprisingly. Wow. I'm surprised they missed that. The Evo on the Hamlin would have taken it to 4. The Sylvia effect plus the 3 damage actually would have ended me. Wow. That is not a surprise, but lucky their misplay ended up in our victory. Wow. I mean, it was still a really good game. If I had have played a little better, I probably wouldn't have been in that situation, but not surprising. So this again is one of my shorter videos. We've been pumping out videos so much lately, especially with things like Haven, that I don't want to make them too super long with some of these decks. Plus, you get the pretty good idea on how these decks function, being really quite aggressive and dealing with things quite well. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, hit the like button and subscribe. Hopefully with the new expansion we'll have a lot more fleshed out videos and things like that. Plus, of course, keep an eye out for the card reviews as the new cards come out. We will be having those coming out regularly as well, so just keep an eye out for those. Until next time, see ya.